See, we may, but our laziness takes us from following what we promised God we were going to do. Of course, there are other extreme cases. We can just expand it to anything else. Drinking hard liquor, for instance, the Bible says, "You shall not drink hard liquor." We shall do it. We still do it. We go to the parties, everyone else does it, and then we say, okay, I am going to do it because if I don't, then I am not socializing. We see socializing becomes more important than what God said. So you're putting God out of your decision. Another example, for instance, you don't have money for your necessities. Then you go and buy some very luxurious clothes. You didn't consult God. Is that really the thing to do? Is that your will that I do this? Or is it your will that I spend my money for a more necessary thing? Instead of spending it for a luxurious piece of clothing that you would probably wear a couple of times and then would be bored of it. See, it really depends on what your priorities are in life. If your priorities are, as we said, God is first, your spiritual teacher is second, your parents are third, and your spouse is fourth, then your actions and thoughts also will be priorities. Your parents, of course, should be good parents. Your spiritual teacher should be a good spiritual teacher. And of course, your God should be the true God. So if you know the true God and your spiritual teacher connects you to the true God, he is a good spiritual teacher. If your parents connect you to a true spiritual teacher, they are good God parents. It is just like a lot of parents know that they have to connect their children to God. If they don't, they are not connected. All of these steps you have to think about. You have to reevaluate your life again from the very base. Anything you do, is that really a part of God's will? Does God want me to do this? Did God really say keep Christmas? You see, this all comes up just like a chain. If you really start to reevaluate your life, really want to listen to God, then these decisions come one after another. It is not that I am against Christmas. I don't care. The rest of the universe keeps whatever they want as the New Year. God, however, told us what are his holy days, the New Year, etc. Actually, culturally, probably I should follow what the Iranians do, but I don't. I follow what God told me to do. If I had to evaluate my values, what is it that God wants me to do? God told me, these are my holy days, and you keep them forever holy. I didn't question it. I didn't say no. My father and mother did it some other way. What they was culturally more acceptable, and I want to be accepted by the culture, so I am going to do it, no matter what Maitreya says or what God says. Again, you see, you have to consult him and follow what he has revealed as truths. As we said in the teaching, in the mission, it is even given how to go to the bathroom. It is a very mundane thing, but that is how it should be done. That is why I say the only acceptable culture is God's culture. That is what we are trying to bring to humanity. God's culture is international. It doesn't know any boundaries. It is universal. Imagine we unify humanity and then everyone says that they want to keep their holidays. Every nation, every people then would say, we want to keep our holidays. We are not going to follow what you say. We're going to have 365 days of holidays. Now, back to the lecture. Christ came and opened another seal of the greatest sign, sacrifice. What did Christ do? He went all the way to the cross for his ideal. Of course, God prophesied that. That was what was going to happen when Christ came. Although, all through the Bible, it was prophesied that that was going to happen to him. He is going to be crucified. What is the symbol of crucifixion? It is the cross, the symbol of sacrifice. Also, as we have discussed before, there are so many numbers, threes, in the New Testament. We come up with the 3 gifts, the 3 falls, 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the earth, the many other threes there. That again shows the relationship between 3 and Christ's teaching. And it is the 3rd sign and the greatest sign. Of course, Prophet Muhammad came and he brought the concept of submission and surrendering. After Prophet Muhammad came Bob. Bob brought the teaching of universalism. So these 5 steps of the greatest sign came to humanity one after another after the flood of Noah. Now when you go through these 5 steps, what happens? If you really, really go through these 5 steps, understand them, and become them, what would happen? I mean, if you really concentrate on the greatest sign, understand it, and bring it into your life, what should happen? If you do, you are going against the tide. But this tide is going to change because that is what God said. God said, my kingdom will come on earth. Eventually, humanity will realize that their happiness, their peace, and their unity is based on God. If they don't follow what He says, they will bring destruction to themselves. It has already happened to many cultures in history. What happened to the Romans? They also thought, do it if it feels good. They became so arrogant that they said that all the roads end in Rome. Big ego. All the roads end in Rome. That means that they were really the first ones in the earth. They had the power. They were the greatest empire. What happened to them? In 100 years, they fell apart. Then what did they accept? All their gods bowed down in front of whom? They bowed down in front of Christ. They accepted Christianity. So we can see that when God says that I am going to do this, He prepares the way. Now the last revelation of God is on earth. This time it all is given to humanity in a peaceful environment. No, never any other prophet did it. No. Never any of the other prophets did it the way God did it this time. This time He comes, puts it down, prints it with a laser printer, laughter, etc. It is here. It is done. It is written. It is published. It is put on the paper and printed out. So in a sense, I am done with the whole thing. The only thing is that I am sitting here repeating myself over and over again to see what is next. The goal of the mission is to create paravibras. We all make up the facilitating body, and this project needs a lot of help, a lot of support physically, mentally, and spiritually in all levels. It is not a small job. It is a big, huge, fantastic, tremendous, gigantic thing. Who is a paravibra? Follow eternal divine path. Maitreya. So paravibra follows the eternal divine path. What else is a paravibra? Disciple. Incorruptible. Maitreya. Incorruptible. What else? Disciple sacrifices all for the ideology. Maitreya. All right. What else is a part of the eternal divine path? Disciple. He knows the difference in the classes of people. So he is able to guide humanity through the different steps in any one of those classes. Maitreya. We will talk about that tomorrow. What else? They are different in spirit. They are born as regular humans, like everyone else, but are deeper in spirit. In the very beginning, they feel different. They are searchers. They cannot commit themselves to the dogma of where they were born or what they were raised in. They question everything about, is that true? Is that right? Why do you say that? What is your proof? Why? Physically, paravibras exercise. They exercise. They strengthen their bodies. They keep their bodies strong. They are physically strong. Mentally, they connect with the intellectual things. Study, read, connect to the internet. And they are spiritually strong. They know the greatest signs are teaching and exercise them. So they are physically, mentally, and spiritually strong. That is because you need to be balanced. If you are physically strong, mentally, and spiritually, you might not be. You have a big body, but nothing else. If you are mentally very strong, but you are very dry intellectually, you become a good financial person or a good lawyer. Mentally, you are very strong, but physically and spiritually, you are not. To become only spiritually strong is even not good. To meditate all the time and not take care of your body physically and mentally causes you to become an escapist because you don't have enough physical and mental strength to get on with life and do something positive. So we have to be strong in all 3 levels. Paravibras ceaselessly work to bring His kingdom within and on earth. They follow the 15 commandments and the 33 virtues. They are the true elected ones. Every religion that came said, we are the elected ones, the Jews, the Christians, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Muslims, the Baha'is. But who is the chosen one? It is not that you are following a teacher, but you are following a path. You are not a chosen one by coming here. You are not a chosen one because you are in the mission of Maitreya, claim that you know my teaching. You are chosen when you walk the path, when you awaken your spiritual forces, when you reach to the community to create communities of light, when you sacrifice, when you surrender and submit, and you become a universalist, then you are an elect. You are a paraveeper. You are not a paraveeper just because you believe in the mission of Maitreya, or you can tell us about the greatest sign, etc. You walk the path. See again, individual responsibility is very present here. It is up to you to walk the path. I show you the path, but you walk it. You can't put the responsibility on me and say, okay, he is going to take my karma and I will go to heaven. Yes, I can take you to heaven, but what did God say? I can take you to heaven, but he is going to throw you out of his mouth. He will spew you out of heaven and say, no, go back. You haven't learned the path by yourself yet. You didn't walk the eternal divine path. You cannot stay here. Go back. That is where I want you to be until you learn your lessons and learn how to walk the eternal divine path. Again, we create incredible people. If each of us walks this path, we have no choice but to be incredible. We have no choice but to be effective. We have no choice but to be an example for humanity. That is the goal. The goal is not to heal. The goal is not to say, oh, wonderful Maitreya, I love you. Those are a part of it. Of course, it is a package. You have to love your God with all your heart, mind, and spirit, because I connect you to God. I will direct you to God all the time. That is where you connect. That is what the true elect means in the spiritual world. It means you become the eternal divine path and walk it. Paraveepers have the qualities of all classes in the society. They are leaders. They will lead people, humanity, to a greater civilization, a greater earth for everyone. The earth is a mess. Who wants to be born here on this earth? There's so much suffering, so much destruction, so much separation, so much ego, so many lies. Why? Paraveepers will create a great environment, a better earth. Then we will come back here. They are the facilitators to even increase, ever increase human progress to a higher level. We will talk tomorrow about how that is done and how society can progress to a greater degree in every cycle. They are the new generation of humans, the next step in human evolution. Shalom.
They made me become who I am. Or I can blame my wife, or my child, or my neighbor, or Maitreya. No, I have to face myself. That is the challenge for individuals to face themselves. We can create the people who can overcome their problems, and therefore now they can follow the eternal divine path and become the great beings that God is intending to create. Indeed, this revelation and mission is a challenge sent to humanity, individually, collectively, socially, politically, physically, and mentally. It is challenging you. Shalom, everyone who just joined. I'm reading from that song that Maitreya gave on calling the elects. This is from 2006. Yourself, face the society. The answer to all the problems on earth have been given. It is not something that you have to face yourself, no. It has been given to meditate, to use the word, and understand the stillness within. If you do not go to the stillness, you are going to be asking everyone else what you should be doing instead of finding it within. It is shown to you how it is done. God did not keep anything back this time. It is absolutely given from meditation, from creation, from the name of God. All has been given to you. But it is up to you now to go meditate, to see, to understand, to become a believer, a child of God, a soldier of God, a person who has no fear, because he knows that God is going to be taking care of him or her. You cannot be taken care of if you stay away from the communities of light and are not following the will of God and still say God is going to take care of me. That is not the will of God. The will of God is to come together and to create the communities of light. I am not going to come to the communities of light. I am not going to come to help the mission of God's revelation. And at the same time, I expect God to take care of me. God has created this universe to this point, and now he wants everyone to follow the eternal divine path and create the communities of light. I am godly. I want to do the will of God, but I am going to stay all by myself. I am not going to follow what God is calling me for, but God is going to take care of me. No, you have to do the will of God, and then you will see how he takes care of you. In a sense, for a lot of people, it is going out on the limb, going against everything that society has taught us. Be afraid. Put a lot of money away for your retirement. Do this and do that. Take care of yourself, this and that. I trust in God. I will go out on the limb. That is what I did. I am an example to you. I went out on the limb. I am not saying it was a picnic, but it was a great journey, and I would not change it for anything. And God took care of me. I am an example for you. This revelation, the whole teaching, also teaches you how to face yourself. It is not something that he said you have to face yourself, but I'm not going to give you any tools. God has already given us all the tools we need. We are the people who have to take the steps. We have to look at ourselves, not always seeking the answers outside of ourselves. In that stillness, the answers will be given to you. The tools have been given. All the things that you need, God has revealed to humanity. Again, this is the time to turn around, face ourselves, and really to be thankful and recognize that Thanksgiving is the first law. We have to be thankful in every situation that we are in because it could be worse. And as we give thanks and come together, create communities of light, sacrifice, surrender, and submit to God, become universalists indeed, we become a spiritual force on earth that will not stop until we reach the goal. The whole goal of the universe, the creation, coming to this state of being human, is to become divine by following the eternal divine path, by meditating, by understanding our meditation process, by knowing the Hari, Om, Shari, and the stillness between breathing in and breathing out, by reaching to a point that you are pure enough to approach the Word, get initiated and use the Word. Of course, God does not demand that you are 100% pure, but at least have the willingness to become pure. Then approach God, become initiated, and use the Word. You can even have a greater understanding of yourself, the stillness, the Word of God, the name of God, and therefore you can accelerate your progress. The tools have been given. It is not something he said, go and do this. You are on your own. And then there were a couple of questions coming in here. And somebody asked Maitreya, subjective approach with objective adjustment. What did you mean by that statement? And Maitreya answered, well, if you look at the sentence, subject is always you want something to approach and become. Object is something now that you are at. Subjective is your goal. That is where you want to go. I want to become divine. I want to follow the eternal divine path. I want to reach God. I want to turn back to the Godhead, to the light. That is my goal. Am I there yet? No. I am here in this body. I have ego. I have a lot of desires, cravings, and attachments. So objective is where you are. Subjective is your goal. Subjective approach means that you strive to reach your goal. You go toward your subject, your goal, but you adjust yourself with where you are. Where I am at this point, I have all these desires, wants, and attachments. I cannot leave my parents. I cannot leave my work. I have all these things that are holding me down. It is okay. Some people have been created to come here to take care of their parents, their children, and their things. If you are really called for a greater calling, Christ's disciples asked about the death of his Father, and Christ said, just let the dead bury the dead. A lot of people do not like that sentence, but that is exactly what Christ said. You are not here for that kind of life. You are here to do a great task that God called you for. Or you can see that you are in that situation. You can make some arrangements for your family, your parents, or your affairs, so you can release yourself to higher things. That is where you are, whatever situation you are in. It is just an example. What situation you are in is the objective. You want to come, join the communities of light, and follow the eternal divine path. That is your subjective. Therefore, you adjust yourself with the situation you are in, but you strive all the time toward the goal. That is why it is called subjective approach with objective adjustment. That is one of the revelations from Baba. That is what he brought to humanity, which is a great understanding. Of course, it is not the first time it has been said. The very word meditation in Sanskrit is called sadhana, which means struggle. It means to improve yourself constantly. Actually, that is exactly what the meaning of jihad is. Jihad means struggle, to go towards something in a higher level, a struggle to better every situation that you are in. Work it out to improve yourself. I hope that it answered your question. And then the questioner said, are you saying you are holy now, a perfect being? And Maitreya said, that is what you have to decide. If I say I am, you probably will not believe it. If I say I am not, I am lying. So it does not matter to you if I say who I am or what I am. The most important is God surely is perfect, and he has indeed revealed this revelation. And then Michael's Light asked, in one of your PowerPoint presentations, you stated that Diana, one of the names, including Isis, was the whore of Babylon. I found coin collectors that referred to this Diana on Roman coins as Diana Lucifera. Is there a lineage created from Lucifer, who is the tempter and destroyer, and one of the three forces of God? Maitreya answered, in general, there is no such thing as a being as Lucifer. In the highest level of God, there is no such being, but God. God is the universal mind and the pure consciousness behind it. Lucifer, or devil, or all the things related to the rebellious being that created separation between God and the rest of the universe, is the lower nature or ego of man. There have been people and beings in the history that followed their lower nature. They gained some spiritual powers and cities, and they used them for selfish reasons. That is why the top of the five-sided star at the top of the greatest sign is upward, just like a human is praying to God, opening his heart to God. The very symbol of magic, magicians, and the people who misuse the power of the spirit is the same five-sided star, upside down. Instead of praying to God, they praise and pray to the world and worldly things. Being godly and being a fallen angel, the border is really thin. You can be godly all your life, and suddenly at the end of your life, you fall from the grace, and you use and misuse those powers. You become under the influence of the devil. Actually, the devil also is known as Lucifer, or the shining star. If we say the devil is also one of the forces in the universe, the Tamaguna that created everything, if there wasn't any Tamaguna, there would not be any creation. So in a sense, the Tamaguna is needed to create the universe. So you can go through the struggle and the fall and lower nature to reach the light. When the devil is recognized, it becomes a shining star in your path to return to the light. Now, if you go to the teaching of the Egyptian Isis and all those things, they also have symbolic meanings. They use the teachings of Thoth, who was a very high being connected highly and eventually became the king. Of course, that Thoth is different than Thoth. That means the holiest of the holies in the mission and is our scripture. But Thoth was a very high spiritual being. He taught a lot of things in Egypt that later on fell, and the kings or the pharaohs used for their selfish reasons and called themselves God and created an environment that they became untouchables. Untouchables not as unclean in India, but the people who were in such a powerful position that no one could touch them or reach them. If we understand that the devil is not a being, then anyone else who is called devil is a being that has fallen to the lower nature. They use their spiritual powers to gain the world. We know that is not a good bargain, because when you gain the world, you lose your soul. It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a person who is attached to this external world and gains it. They will become devils. So there is no genealogy. As we said, there is no such being as the devil. If God is